We seek the blessings of Almighty with an invocation song by our student, Miss Bhuvana. Over to you, Bhuvana.
ಸೋಜುಗಾದ ಸೂಜು ಮಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಮಾದೇವ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮಂಡೆ ಮ್ಯಾಲೆ ದುಂಡು ಮಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಸೋಜುಗಾದ ಸೂಜು ಮಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಮಾದೇವ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮಂಡೆ ಮ್ಯಾಲೆ ದುಂಡು ಮಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಅಂದಾವರೆ ಮುಂದಾವರೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ತಾವರೆ ಪುಷ್ಪ ಚಂದಕ್ಕಿ ಮಾಲೆ ಬಿಲ್ಪತ್ರೆ ಮಾದೇವ ನಿಂಗೆ ಚಂದಕ್ಕಿ ಮಾಲೆ ಬಿಲ್ಪತ್ರೆ ತುಳಸಿ ದಳವ ಮಾದಪ್ಪನ ಪೂಜೆಗೆ ಬಂದು ಮಾದೇವ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸೋಜುಗಾದ ಸೂಜು ಮಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಮಾದೇವ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮಂಡೆ ಮ್ಯಾಲೆ ದುಂಡು ಮಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಸೋಜುಗಾದ ಸೂಜು ಮಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಮಾದೇವ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮಂಡೆ ಮ್ಯಾಲೆ ದುಂಡು ಮಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಮಾದೇವ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮಂಡೆ ಮ್ಯಾಲೆ ದುಂಡು ಮಲ್ಲಿಗೆ.
Thank you, Bhuvana. Let's begin the event by lighting the lamp. I request all the dignitaries on the dance to light the lamp and pay the floral tribute to our honorable founder, Chairman, Dr. S.M. Venkatapati. It gives me a great pleasure to welcome you all for this national conference. First and foremost, I would like to take this opportunity to extend my sincere gratitude to our founder, chairman of EPGL, Dr. S.M. Venkatapati, for his idea of putting the foundation of an education institution planted as a sapling is all now grown as a large tree. I would like to welcome our honorable chairperson, Srimati B.L. Ramadevi Venkatapati Madam, and our energetic CEOs, Sri S.V. Pramod Gowda sir and Sri S.V. Rajiv Gowda sir of APGI for this conference in their absence here, but they have conveyed the best wishes for this national conference. I would like to welcome our Honorable Secretary, Sri Prit Francis sir, for this national conference in their absence here. It's my pleasure to welcome our dynamic Senior Vice President, Dr. Prakash S. sir, for gracing this occasion. I request Dr. Jayanti ma'am to welcome our senior VP sir. I'm profoundly delighted to take this opportunity to welcome and introduce our chief guest for the day session, Sri Prasad Joshi sir, Associate Vice President, Synopsys Techno Design Innovation Private Limited, Bangalore. I request Dr. Anita ma'am to welcome our chief guest. It's a moment of extreme pleasure to welcome our youngest and the very enthusiastic principal and HOD Department of EC, Dr. Yogesh GS sir, for this national conference. I request Dr. Sachin sir to welcome our principal sir. It's my pleasure to welcome Dr. Anita ma'am, Associate Professor, Department of EC, Organizing Chair of this conference. I request Dr. Chandra Prasad to welcome Anita ma'am. It's my pleasure to welcome our session chairs, Dr. Jagdish HS, HOD Department of EC, APS College of Engineering. I request Professor Vijay Magrima to welcome sir. And also I welcome Dr. Janita A, HOD Department of EC, Dr. T. K. Institute of Technology. She is on the way. So we welcome her ma'am. I would also extend my warm welcome to all the HODs of various departments and the faculty members of EPCAT. I am delighted to welcome all the internal and the external student participants for this national conference. Once again, a warm welcome to all of you.
I take this privilege to welcome our organizing chair today's national workshop, Dr. Rajesh Shell. I request Hemavati madam to welcome her.
I welcome our Senior Vice President, Dr. Prakash sir, to address the gathering.
Good morning, one and all.
Good morning.
Respected Chief Guest, Sri Prasad Joshi sir, Associate Vice President, Synopsys Technologies Design and Innovation, Private Limited, Bangalore. Principal Dr. Yogesh, Anita Madam, Rajesh, my dear colleagues, and my dearest students. Jagdish, who is a good friend of mine, Professor and Head of Electronics at APC College of Engineering and Technology. Fine. Today, let me congratulate the complete EC department for hosting this national conference on next generation intelligence in electronics and communication engineering. Intelligence is not just in next generation now, it's already happening. What will happen in the next generation, still it's amazing, could happen in the way we see the AI is floating it up, OpenAI, the chat GPT and all those things. Many times we conventionally thought of one pyramid. Bottom was my data, then after that I process my data, it will become information, and I do some analysis on the information, it becomes a knowledge. Then above the knowledge was the intelligence, and above the intelligence was the wisdom. Wisdom is basically the tip of the pyramid. And we always called it as an information technology era, and then we started it's a knowledge era. And now we are all speaking about intelligence era. So after OpenAI, the revolution that OpenAI created today, it's something amazing. almost all applications. You take any application that has been today making sound, everyone wants to integrate with ChatGPT. Everyone, so that it becomes more intelligent now. So intelligence is a part. Now people are not just speaking about how to embed the intelligence either in a chip or in any of the devices. People are thinking that there are many intelligent devices. They communicate seamlessly among each other, and something should come out of this. The convergence of different intelligent devices will make a huge difference. The impact could be something different. It's not that intelligence was not there in the chip. In fact, yesterday I was telling to someone, I don't remember whom I told. Uh, in Intel, there is an operating system, it was there. People were not aware of this. The operating system was designed by Andrew West Tenenbaum. People know about Andrew West Tenenbaum, your computer network textbook, very old computer. Probably we read it. I don't know whether these students have read it or not. From Andrew West Tenenbaum. Andrew West Tenenbaum, as a long back, had written actually an operating system for a chip. That was the first invention, and it was nowhere used. What happened is that Intel actually copied this, and they were started using from decade. People thought that it is Intel chip has become too intelligent. But one of the Andrew West Tenenbaum PhD student was working in Intel. He came to know that it is the work of my PhD guy. And then he outbursted this, and it went to the court, and Intel supposed to apologizes to Andrew West Tenenbaum that we made a mistake. Without your permission, we have actually took this code, and we apologize for this. In fact, when they approached Andrew West was for the royalty they are used, but Andrew West Tenenbaum denied this, any royalty. Moral of the story is that at that moment, the intelligence was embedded in the chip. That means my operating system was actually residing in the Intel chip. That's why Intel was very, very popular. Okay. So now today, what I see probably the way the devices are getting connected, my complete industry 4.0, the people who are speaking about revolutionizing the complete manufacturing sector is going to be amazing. That means all the intelligent devices are communicating seamlessly among each other, and see the outcome that comes is something amazing. The applications, what could be, someone can't even imagine what could be the outcome of certain intelligent devices. The way the people are speaking the smart city concept today. If you see the smart city concept, each and every devices, either it could be traffic surveillance. This application of traffic surveillance will get interfaced with my GPS of Google. This will also get interfaced with my healthcare application. Assume that I am going in it is for an ambulance. Many times I always felt that when Swiggy advertised one advertisement tag, what they told is that 10 minutes delivery. Any place to any place, 10 minutes delivery. Oh my God, amazing. That means such a aggregator they have created, and how the technology works, and is able to commit that 10 minutes delivery. And that was a marketing tagline. And in fact, on my LinkedIn, probably if someone goes to my old posts on LinkedIn, I've told that, can we actually implement this for ambulance? Can we have ambulance in 10 minutes? Okay. When we can do it for one commercial, having the food, Swiggy or Zomato, why can't we have 10 minutes ambulance arrival? Yes. This can happen when we are able to create aggregators like Uber, like Swiggy, Zomato, Uber Eats, and all those things, which is highly technology oriented, and my complete supply chain management takes up a different shape. intention is that in a smart city concept, all my applications start speaking seamlessly. If I want to actually see to it that I want to, in a heart surgery should happen and the patient should move from one place to another in Bangalore in a high traffic zone, can I see that the patient moving from ambulance goes with zero traffic? That means I need to see that the intelligence transfer happens across all the applications. Seamlessly, people should start communicating. That means my traffic light management should speak to the hospital management application. My police department should speak. All these applications should get integrated seamlessly. And this could be the smart city concept. So intelligence is already in this generation only. And what could be the next generation intelligence? Could be predicting, could also be something astonishing. People are already speaking now. Chat GPT will revolutionize something much, much different. So we need to have ethical AI. People are telling only about AI. Now people are telling it's ethical AI. That means I need to use AI very ethically. So this is something what is going to happen, and I always keep on telling that I don't know how many people really want to become coders. Coding concept will also get automated. I no need to write any code further. Code gets automatically generated. I think how many people have really worked on ChatGPT here? Anyone who have seen ChatGPT? Yes. Yes, good. I can just yesterday I was there on a workshop at AI in Excel. Funny part is that if there are 4 to 5 Excel sheets, I want to pivot the table and create from there to here. Basically, we do pivoting, no? Lookup table and all these things. I don't need to write. Download the macros directly from ChatGPT, put it across here. Amazing analysis it will do. It will pull around 100 Excel sheets if I have put on one folder. It will bring out the analysis form. I no need to write any macros for this. It is something amazing. Yesterday when I was seeing it, I just experimented this, downloaded it and put across 3-4 Excel sheets was completely automated. See the intelligence. We want students to create this intelligence now. We don't want people to just code. We don't want coders now. We want designers. We want you to get into critical thinking part. That's what India needs. And lastly, I'll conclude that we always tell that there's a huge demand for computer science. Unfortunately, this is happening. I'm underlining it bold. Unfortunately, it's happening. Everyone is going for computer science, AI, ML, data science, cybersecurity, IoT, all these branches. But actually, core is electronics. Nothing works on the top application without bottom hardware. So India would actually disrupt the complete chip manufacturing sector. This is what the statement from Ashwin, Minister of Railways currently, who is very, very popular product of IIT. He made a big statement that India will be the next hub for chip manufacturing. Amazing job opportunities will get open for electronics industry. Will start getting embedded in each and every device. The way the people are thinking, even the sensor technology has taken up very well. You see, the sensors have become too cheaper today. The technology that's the reason today that there is a revolution of IoT today because of sensor technology getting more affordable and cheaper. So start critical thinking, become designers, don't just become coders. Anyway, you can code anything, you don't need to code today. ChatGPT will do all these things. Okay. So wish you all the best for all this. There is a lot of good number of papers coming out, a lot of introspection happens, deliberations will happen. Let us see how the deliberations of this conference come out in terms of the papers. Wish you all the best. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable words. Now I request Professor Rajesh K to introduce our chief guest.
Good morning, one and all present here, dignitaries on the dais, and all the various department HODs, students, and the participants. It gives us pleasure to welcome the chief guest and keynote speaker of today's National Conference 2023, Sri Prasad Joshi sir, who is an associate vice president, Synapse Technologies India Private Limited. Mr. Prasad Joshi is a semiconductor industry professional with over 25 plus years of experience in engineering and management. He is Associate Vice President currently at Synapse Quest. Synapse is a wholly owned subsidiary of Quest Global. It is a leading name in semiconductor device design services with over 1,000 plus engineers spread across the globe. It is engaged in providing end-to-end engineering solutions to different market segments such as automation, aerospace, healthcare, and computing. Prior to joining Synapse, Sir has played different engineering and leadership roles in organizations like IBM and Saskia. In his 11 years of tenure at IBM, Sir was a part of microprocessor and systems development group. He led development teams working on ASICs, IPs, and microprocessors for IBM's power and mainframe server systems. Prior to IBM, Sir has played leadership roles at Sasken, where he led teams developing solutions for top-tier semiconductor companies involving chip design and software board development. Sir serves as a member of Executive Committee of India Electronics and Semiconductor Association, Bangalore Chapter, and ex-com member of IEEE Circuits and Systems, Bangalore Chapter. He has played various roles in organizing different international conferences related to VLSI design and embedded systems in India. He is closely associated with an NGO that champions the cause of education and healthcare and serves on this advisory board. Sir pursues wildlife photography as an hobby and has won various awards in amateur category. Sir, we are very proud and delighted to have you as a chief guest and sparing your valuable time for this national conference. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I request our chief guest, Sri Prasad Joshi, sir, to address the gathering. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
That's good. All right. So, Honorable Chief Patron Srimati P.L. Ramadevi, I think she couldn't be present here, and then Honorable Patron Sri Pramod Gowda sir, then Rajiv Gowda sir, and Peter Francis sir, who again could not be present here, but all this, their blessings is this conference is happening. This is what is my understanding, and of course one among the patrons, Sri Dr. Prakash sir, who is a senior vice president, he is present here, and then Honorable Dr. Anita and Dr. Rajesh, who are the organizing chairs of this conference, and Dr. Yogesh, who is a principal, and all of the faculty and the students. It's my great pleasure to be here in front of you to address this gathering. So, a couple of days back, Dr. Anita and Principal Sir, they spoke to me and they said, this event is happening and can you come as a chief guest? And I was in a little dilemma because the time period was very short. I had some meetings planned on Friday morning. At the same time, I always like to have this kind of opportunities where I get to interact with students and faculties. So I was really looking forward to, I said, let me try, I could manage moving some of my meetings, and that's how I am here today. Let us make this session as much interactive as possible. Okay, so my objective of being here, I'm not here to claim that I am a visionary or a thought leader in the industry. Okay, but at the same time, let me also admit that I entered this industry at probably a very right and opportune time, and that has definitely helped me to work with some of the thought leaders, some of the visionaries in the industry, and that has definitely helped me to gain some insights
So what I am going to share with you is the kind of experiences that I have gone through and the kind of insights that I have got into this industry, especially the electronics and semiconductor. And that is something that I am going to share with you with a expectation that you all will make your own, you will derive your own meanings out of it. And eventually, a lot of students here, I clearly see that great future, great opportunity for anybody who is going to be in the domain of electronics or semiconductor or CS. And all of you, when you take your own journeys in your life, probably some of the thoughts that you will pick up from today's discussion, if that helps you to gain your own, to build your own story or to gain your own insights, then probably the objective of my address today will be served. Okay. Where do I go to see this? So So, to come to the importance of the conference, right? Especially the such kind of conferences, and this is something that as a student I have attended. Also, I have attended as a sometimes as a student guide, like because some of the students they engage with some of the guides outside from the industry, and then I have also attended as a sometimes as a external. You can say a judge, somebody who judges the paper and all. But the essence of these conferences is basically to come up with newer and newer ideas. And that is something that I would like to stress, that whatever is the title of the conference, what should you really be looking at is what is the novelty that you are bringing to the table. Okay. Another part is sometimes when you do your own day-to-day experiments, you might get some insights that may not be always visible or that might not have brought out very clearly by the people who have already presented papers. And today the search is available for every student in the world, right? You can always go and check what was presented on similar topic, what were the findings earlier. If you see that there are findings that you want to bring out which are drastically different, which have new insights into probably the same findings that somebody else has, then this is a forum that such conferences they provide. So really happy to see that such a national level conference is being organized, and I was given the whole day itinerary by madam that it shows that there are going to be presentations. Probably I may not able to attend all of them, but definitely I look forward to at least attend some session in the morning so that I get to see the kind of new ideas, the kind of new findings that you all are going to discuss about. Because these conferences, beyond the regular academics that all of us we go, you have your own curriculum, your professor comes, they have a predefined topics that they want to cover, but these are the conferences where you get to talk about something which is outside the curriculum, or it may be still part of curriculum, but a new finding and new insight into it. So the conferences like this, they are basically nothing but an amalgamation of new ideas and churning of new thoughts, and then a lot of new things that come out of these conferences, especially from a student point of view. It should stimulate the thinking. That is what is the aim of the conference, that it should stimulate the thinking beyond the box, because usually in your academics you are confined with your curriculum, but thinking beyond the box is something that is really something that is the objective of such conferences. So it is a great pleasure to be among you for this conference. Really happy to see that national level conference, and I was told that this is an annual affair, right? This is happening over a period of time every year, and it is something for a academic institution that is something to be very proud about, because I have seen instances in the past where some academic institute starts with something, sustain for a couple of years, then change in the faculty or whatever that happens there, and then that sustenance is something that lacks. Whereas if the college here has, and the management and the faculty, they have been able to sustain this for significant amount of time, I would say that all of you and the faculty, you all deserve a big round of applause, because this is something that definitely commendable. Okay. And again, when we talk about national level conference, I would expect that a lot of reach must have already happened to the different engineering colleges. So there will be paper presentations from different colleges across, right? So yeah, that is because this opportunity again to interact not only with your set of individuals that you are anyway connected with. This is a 4-year course, you know your faculty, you know your friends, peers, but then there are going to be opportunities for you to interact with people who are outside your college, faculties who are outside your college, students who are outside your college. And that kind of interaction should again, as I said, stimulate the thinking. And that is what that really the purpose of the conference. And I'm sure that that purpose, looking forward to that purpose getting solved. And I wish all the best for the conference, all the presenters. Don't feel overwhelmed that, oh, I need to speak in front of so many people. I mean, this is a journey. Okay, at some point of time, I was also student, stood in front of a gathering, presented my paper. I also had, that kind of nervousness in me. But then it's a journey. You will overcome at some point of time. Okay, make sure that you present your idea, convey the message that you want to convey very clearly, because that really matters. And wishing all the best to all the presenters who are going to present throughout the day. With that, I will stop here and I will request Dr. Yogesh to continue. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Now I request our principal sir to address the gathering.
A very good morning. Good morning. Respected chief guest of the day, Shri Prasad Joshi sir. Respected SVP sir, my mentor and my guru, Dr. Prakash yes sir. My good friend, Dr. Jagdish, Dr. Anita madam, and respected HODs of all the departments, respected faculty members, and my dear student friends and dear participants for the national conference. It's a great day for the Department of Electronics. I wholeheartedly congratulate the Department of Electronics for conducting this national conference. In fact, this is the third national conference, right, madam? Yes. Dear students, as Prakash sir rightly mentioned, artificial intelligence is part of the life nowadays. Once if I use the word artificial intelligence, ChatGPT comes into mind, and it emphasizes in all the emerging technologies. It has a helpline in all the technologies which you are going to use. If you have a great idea, as Joshi sir mentioned, if you want to present it in the outer world, it can be presented in the form of a paper. Might be when you think in that angle, these type of conferences will definitely help you to bring your ideas to the practical world. So keeping this thing in mind, we have initiated this particular national conference. And one of the statistics tells that around $680 billion have been invested in 2022 for R&D. When it comes to India, around $68 billion has been invested. It clearly indicates that research definitely acts as a backbone for any country to develop. I think a platform like this will definitely contribute for the R&D growth of an individual country. So keeping this thing in mind, this platform has been created. I wish you all the best for all the participants. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Request our chief guest, Sri Prasad Joshi sir, to take over the session.
some time back. What I'm going to share with you is my own observations, experience, some of the inferences that I have drawn. Okay, an idea behind this talk is to stimulate thinking, to make you also start connecting dots sometime, and then start creating at some point of time, start creating your own journey. Okay, so I was told that the theme of our conference today is next generation intelligence in the era of in compute and communication, right? Electronics and communication. So what I'm going to talk about is the era that we are entering into. This is an era of connected cognitive compute. Okay, these three are important words you will come across in your journey, whatever engineering journey that you will take going forward. These three words you will keep hearing again and again, that is connected, cognitive, and compute. Okay. So what we are going to see today, we are going to talk about how is electronics, what does electronics really mean for humanity today. Okay. We are also going to look at the important part of electronics, which is integrated circuits, how they have evolved over a period of time, what happened in the past that we are today. We are, see, whatever we are today is a function of past, right? All of you will agree with that. Okay, so what happened with IC and where we stand today. Then there is something called as Moore's law. How many of you have already heard the term Moore's law? How many of you are from electronics? So we have large number of students from electronics, and you have not yet heard about Moore's law. That is interesting for me to know. Anyway, we will look at what is Moore's law. Okay, Moore's law is something around which the entire electronics and semiconductor industry revolves. Okay, so you can say in some sense your life revolves around something that somebody called Gordon Moore he said in 1965. We are going to see what exactly it is. Okay, and then we are going to look at what are the emerging trends, especially in the compute industry. But compute today, see, today is an era when industries are converging. Okay, so what is happening in compute, you will see that it is something that is pretty much converging with all the allied areas of electronics and semiconductors. And then what are the new possibilities? Because that is what actually the aim of the talk, right? You all are students, and even the faculties who are present here, you are going to guide the new students in coming days, right? So what are the new possibilities? Because I would say that that is something that all of you as a student, for you would be the most interesting and something a takeaway for you from this session. And then of course the road ahead, what challenges are there and what kind of opportunities that we see. Okay. So electronics, how many of you, or let me rephrase this. I will tell you about my own childhood. Okay, when I heard the term electronics, probably I was in school, and the only electronics device that was around, and some of the faculty, especially those who are probably above the age of 40, will identify with what I'm saying. The only electronics device that was around was a transistor radio that my dad used to use to hear cricket commentary. Okay, and in fact, till I went to engineering, till I crossed my 12th standard, I was under impression that that device is called as transistor. I didn't know what exactly the real transistor is. Okay, because that is what everybody used to say, yeah, transistor radio. And my dad was very happy with that small device, because in his childhood he used to use a cricket commentary on the radio with a wall. So that radio was a big box. It could not be moved anywhere. So you have to be sitting there to hear the commentary. And for my dad, it was a great privilege to have a small device that he could carry anywhere and hear the cricket commentary. Okay, that was my introduction to electronics in some way. But you all are born in the era of after 95, and all the student members who are sitting here. And for you, this may sound like really strange thing that, oh, because you have born in the era of electronics. For you, the electronics was there right from your childhood. But if you look at the pervasive nature of electronics today, you can just see what has happened in the last 40, 50 years. Even in our life, we are in a developing economy. We are not yet part of developed economy. But everything that I have listed here, whether it is
communication and consumer, whether it is automotive, whether it is healthcare, compute and aerospace, everywhere electronics is pervasive today. Okay. If you look at, for example, cell phones, right? Now the penetration of cell phone is at the highest level in terms of in developing economies among India. And everything, especially COVID pandemic, forced people to do a lot of things on cell phone which they were not doing earlier. Okay, you can look at even in terms of automotive. Another interesting thing, my first car was Hyundai Santro. There was no hardly any electronic. I think there was probably one maybe it was doing some office of automotive. As a user, I never had any interaction with that device. And the only electronics that was there is some audio system that was a bought out item that I fitted in that car. Okay. Today's automotive. How many of you have gone through, or maybe your parents have gone through, in that experience of last 2 years that you want to buy a new car but you are unable to buy because the dealer is saying the delivery will be delayed 6 months, 1 year, and you know what is the reason for that? Lack of semiconductor chip supply. I never thought, though I am a semiconductor professional, I never thought in my life I will see a situation where an automotive dealer in India is not able to deliver a car not because of engine, not because of any other electromechanical part in the car, but because of semiconductor chips, they will not be in a position to deliver the car. That is the pervasive nature of semiconductor electronics today, and that is going to touch every aspect of life. You may say that, oh, we are already touching all aspects of life, but that is not something that is true. Though I have listed major segments, there are still areas of life where there is a large amount of penetration that is possible, and that is something that is going to be an opportunity for all of you, especially students who are present in this hall. Which are those areas? Agriculture. Agriculture, still there are a lot of challenges in agriculture. There are problem statements that you can use electronics to solve. Healthcare. Though I have listed some of the parts in the healthcare, but there are still areas of healthcare which are untouched. There are segments like education, there are segments like manufacturing, where electronics penetration is still low, and there are infinite opportunities that are possible if you start connecting the dots. All right, now let's look at integrated circuit, because that is semiconductor. Again, the pervasive technology, although I talked about electronics, what we really use today is the semiconductor. And what is the journey of semiconductor? Very interestingly, if you see, the first transistor was made when India got independence. That was 1947. That is when somebody made the first transistor. But still, it was not in a shape, or it was not in a technology that could be mass produced. Okay, but the device was conceptualized and it was made in the lab. Then it took almost 10 years for making first IC. Does anybody know here who made the first integrated circuit? Have you ever heard or have you come across? Jack Kilby. Yeah, good. Thank you. So Jack Kilby of Texas Instruments, who made the first integrated circuit, it was proven that it was working fine, but unfortunately it was not a planar device. So it was not a two-dimensional device. Okay. So though the integrated circuit was made, it was not in the form of mass production. So it still took some time. It took till another 1 year to come up with the first planar IC, because this was, I would say, one of the great revolution in the journey of electronics. For any technology to get adopted at a large scale, it needs to be manufactured at a large scale, and the laws of economy will play much bigger than the laws of physics there, because it should be accessible, it should be easy for any ordinary person to buy and all that. And that was made possible only after the first planar IC was made. But even that was not solving a lot of problems of real life. But there was a possibility, but the possibilities were slowly opening. Then what happened? Then the first MOSFET was made on silicon in 1960. That was another big change, because earlier transistors were bipolar junction transistors. The MOSFET was first made in 1960. Then what happens? Yes, then comes, now you will say, hey Prasad, you have listed all the devices and systems, but there is one very interesting thing on this slide is, In 1965, you are not listing any device, you are only talking about Moore's law. And I'm going to come to that Moore's law, why Moore's law is finding mention in this slide, you will come to know in the subsequent slides. But Moore's law came in 1965. Gordon Moore was the CEO of Intel, and he made some predictions about semiconductor industry. That is what we call it as a Moore's law. And in 1970, Intel came up with the first 4004, that is a LSI chip. That was, again, I would say, a big transition, a big revolutionary step in journey of electronics. Then what happened? Then till it took 10 more years for the industry to come up something which common man can use, right? You made an IC, fantastic. Those ICs were probably only serving purpose for some defense or maybe some aerospace applications and all, only in US and advanced economies. But there was no access to the common man, and that significantly changed in 1981 when IBM made first PC. That was the first personal computer that was available for common man, and from there it was something, a revolution of communication and compute that started. Then, of course, in 1990, big chip, more than 2 million gate size chip was made. That was again a big change because you can put a lot of logic on the system there. And then in 1993, first cell phone. Do you all know which company made the first cell phone? That's a misconception. Interestingly, IBM made the first cell phone. They were never able to sell it. Okay, they made a device that is called IBM Simpson. You can go on Google, search about it. But IBM was very poor in marketing and selling it, and then Motorola took over that technology. And then first 3D IC. So you can see on this slide after 1993, I'm directly talking about 2020. So a lot of things happened in those 30 years about which there is a lot of literature available for you to go and read. But again, the big changes happening in 20s is three-dimensional integrated circuits are going to form, or they're already becoming commercially available. This is again a very, very interesting slide. I'm not going to spend a lot of time. What I really want to talk to you about this slide is, you can see right from 1999 till 2021 is what is plotted here. The growth of semiconductor in electronic systems. And you can see the graph. It has not come down below 17.7% on any year. So it is on an average, you can say 22% or more. So every year that is passing compared to previous year, the amount of semiconductor that is going into electronic systems is growing by roughly approximately 22 to 25%. Just imagine the possibilities that are ahead, and this is going to grow exponentially. Okay, this is going to grow exponentially in coming 10 years for sure. Just imagine the kind of opportunities that we are talking about for anybody who is making career in electronics or semiconductors. All right, so yeah, Moore's law, we already talked a couple of times in this presentation. So what does that law say? It's a very simple thing. What Gordon Moore predicted, he said that the number of transistors on a chip every 2 years, they will double. The number of transistors that you can pack on a die, they will double every 2 years. And not only they will double, the cost of production will come down very significantly. So this is something that all of you need to understand, because as I said, it is not only the laws of physics or the laws of science they play, but economics also plays a major role in our life. Okay, this nature of the technology where the amount of compute or the amount of processing power is going to get doubled, but the cost of making is going to drop significantly. So the nature of semiconductor industry is, it is highly deflationary in nature. All other industries, you will see that there is always an inflation. I will take one simple example of inflation. Suppose 5 years back, you were able to buy a idli in your canteen for 15 rupees, right? If that Anna who is running the canteen, he does not make any changes in that idli making process, that idli will today cost 17 or 1800 rupees because of simple reason of inflation. Okay, he cannot say that 5 years back I was selling at 15 rupees, I will sell it today for 2 rupees. Is it possible? That is not possible. because of simple law of inflation, right? Whereas what happens in electronics is something very interesting. The transistor that was costing, and to be precise, $5.52, that was the price of one transistor in 1950s when the first transistors were made, right? You know what is the cost of one transistor today? It is $1 nano. It is billionth of the $1 divided by billion. That is the cost of the transistor today. So this industry is a very, very different industry. It is highly deflationary in nature, and it defies the laws of economics in many ways. And it is up to you to how to understand, how to correlate with this, because that brings lots and lots of opportunities for everybody who is in this domain. Okay. Now, the electronics and semiconductor industry was very happy with Moore's law. It came in 1965. People debated. Intel was a big name anyway in the industry. Intel came up with a lot of chips. Everything was going fantastic, very well, till about 2005 to 2010, when there was a realization, oh, now it is reaching somewhere into the saturation, because the reason was that already we were in a advanced geometry. So this graph here, though it shows only till 2014, it still holds good today, even almost after 10 years. So I'm not really trying to change anything here. But what you can see here is till about 2010, right? This linear progression was happening fantastic. Everybody was happy. Consumer was happy because they were paying same $100 every 2 years to get a price, to get a performance which was almost double, or the functionality that was almost double. Everybody who was making electronics, everybody who was making semiconductor, they were very happy because by packing functionality on the same die, they were able to make good amount of money because cost of making the transistor was significantly coming down. So the consumers were happy, the suppliers were happy, everything was looking fantastic. When we reached to the geometries of somewhere around 90 nanometer and all, and then there was a realization that that part of that Moore's law was not holding true anymore. And which part of that law? The economic part of that law. It was not holding anymore true, that as and when you start going further down, the cost of R&D in electronics and semiconductor, that was skyrocketing, and it was not possible to manufacture that transistor at a significantly lower cost compared to what it was 2 years back. Now, did it impact the journey of the industry? So it impacted to some extent, but it didn't stop the kind of revolution that electronics and semiconductor that was bringing to the life. And the reason behind that is innovation. So one of the most important aspects of life that I would like to leave that thought with all of you today is there is no alternative to innovation. You identify a problem and you start thinking about a solution, and as long as you have a novelty, as long as you have an ability to implement that solution at a large scale, you can definitely aim to monetize that. And that is something that all of you should know, that this is a graph that will tell you that even after everything that industry believes started slowing down, how it survived because of innovation. So what kind of innovation I'm talking about? I'm talking about how the system stack started playing bigger and bigger role. So what was there in the electronics, or what was there in the started moving into the system stack. The culmination of that you whatever I talked about today about ChatGPT, everywhere we go, we talk about it. But it is a culmination of what started happening from 2008, 2009 onwards, that the innovation started moving in the upper layer. It started moving into the system stack. This slide probably I will skip in the interest of time, but this is a very interesting slide. It talks about how the evolution of transistors. So till 2014 what happened, then 14 nanometer below what happened, and then 3 nanometer below what exactly is happening with the transistor. This was published by Intel in their investor call. Wow, this is interesting. Part of the slide is not visible. Anyway, so again, what I am trying to convey here in this slide is, if you plot this till the end. What it conveys is what was traditional gain by the scaling, and this traditional, the blue bar graph is a traditional gain by the scaling. It starts tapering down, and the yellow bar graph is a gain by innovation, and that is something that starts becoming dominant, more and more dominant. Okay, so the gain by innovation, and what is meant by gain by innovation? The things that I have listed there, the number of cores that you can pack, the number of threads that you can execute simultaneously. I mean, these are all things without further playing with the transistor. The innovation on those areas is what has really helped for this industry to survive, and that trend is going to continue more and more in coming days. Okay. Yeah, this slide is very interesting slide. I would like all of you to pay attention here, because this is where a lot of opportunities for you as a student that is going to lie. See, we had a conventional model of computing. All of you must have heard about client server model. Do you all know what is client server model? Right? So client server is the most prominent model of computing even today, but something that has started changing in last 3 to 4 years. And what is that change that is happening? That increasingly the client server model is going to the back end of the compute. And if you correlate with what I told you in the previous 2 slides, the innovation in the stack that is playing much bigger role now compared to what it was earlier. So what is going to change? The real time, now we will have 5G. Many of you might be already started using 5G, or you will use 5G. There will be 6G rollout probably another 10 years down the line. The real time compute with AI, and what are the opportunities with that? You can say here that the edge computing is going to play a significant role in this industry, and all of you who are interested, especially in this kind of a domain, you should start looking at this as a serious career option, because another 15 to 20 years, edge computing is going to be dominating our lives. Okay. Then there is a big opportunity in those areas so I have drawn one oval shape here where it is showing what was the conventional way of compute. Everything that you see here on this side of the chart is where the opportunities for you are lying. For example, high speed. It is not just enough for us to sense the data. You have to store it, you have to transmit it. So anything that is on the high speed network, that is going to see a significant revolution in the coming days. Same thing about how the data center growth, though we see that there are advanced economies where currently the economic growth has slowed down, but the data center growth has not slowed down. If you go to internet and see the kind of growth that data center is showing, it is still humongous. Yeah, so this is something interesting that one of the thinker group that have come up with, they call it as a more than more. Okay, so what you see on the left hand side of this diagram is something that is still conventional Moore's law, but what they are talking about is more than more is diversification. What is diversification? They are talking about packing a lot of things in system in package, and this system in package will dominate coming days. When you look at electronics, no more are the days when there is a planar IC, which was there till some years back. You will see the system in package will start dominating every aspects of areas of life where electronics is deployed, whether it is consumer, whether it is communication, whether it is compute, any areas of electronics, you will see that the system in package will start dominating. And what is there in that system in package? There are a lot of components which were otherwise earlier on PCBs. For example, analog RF, HV power sensors, a lot of this was distributed. So still the industry is able to pack a lot of performance and processing on the same die. That is what is the message of this slide. Yes, so now what is changing? Again, this is one slide that all of you need to, especially those of you who want to make career even in computer or in electronics, you need to understand this very well. Till now, we are using this something called as systems of record, and I will take one very simple example. All of you must have used digital thermometer at some point of time. What do? In the morning, you monitor temperature, you say, yeah, 97, after 4 hours, maybe 100. You take paracetamol, again, it goes back to 97. You keep track of what is the body temperature of the patient. This is nothing but system of record. Even real life computers in client server model, they work on the system of record. What we do, our banking transaction is a system of record. There are records kept somewhere, those are fetched. We do the transaction, again record is kept back. Okay, this is system of record. What is changing? Lot of you have wearable today, right? It will tell you what was your temperature in the morning. Then at the night, you can check and you can see, oh, throughout the day, how did my temperature vary? It went from 97, 98, 99, whatever, right? This is nothing but system of engagement. And that is something that is happening in real life today. Okay. So same thing, all of you must have used even say pulse oximeter when COVID was there, right? It monitors the pulse, you keep the record, but now with wearable, you can sense how much was your pulse. Yeah, when I went to gym, my pulse went from 80 to 100. When I slept, my pulse was at 70. Now these are the systems of engagement, and this is just one example. There are many such examples. If you open your eyes and start connecting dots, you will see that yeah, system of engagements are dominating our life today. But what is even more important is what is mentioned here is the systems of insight. So when all this data is collected, somebody is also going to use that, or that is already getting used, and that is what is called a system of insight. So lot of changes in our life, lot of value add is going to happen because of things are going to move from systems of record to systems of insight. And there are fantastic opportunities for anybody who is building career in electronics or computer science to play a major role in building those systems of insight. And what is that that is fueling all this? The four pillars that are shown here. That is big data and analytics, cloud, social and mobile. These are the things that are really helping this transition. So either in the core of this slide or in any of these building blocks, you have roles to play, you have interesting opportunities to go and explore. So digital transformation is a real thing that is happening around us, right? And what are the opportunities? Lot of new opportunities that are thrown at us by this digital transformation. Robotics, 3D printing, IoT, and cognitive systems. Especially these are the areas where there will be fantastic new opportunities for young to pursue in their career life. And especially in cognitive systems, the processing in the edge and cloud, this is something that is going to take phenomenal bandwidth of the engineering talent pool that is going to be there. Okay, because there are lots of areas where all of this is going to happen, and especially secure hardware. When we are talking about all this, right, one aspect that all of you need to keep in mind is security, and that is something that again has a fantastic career opportunities. And what is the great thing about all this revolution that is going to happen, or it is already happening? The great thing is that means more electronics and more semiconductors for all of us. So all of us can build our career, we can look at building solutions. Okay. This is the last slide. I am going to only touch upon the key aspects of what opportunities. I think we already talked about the first part, the innovation. So another thing that I really want all of you, both faculty as well as students, to pay attention is innovation is going to play a significant role in our lives going forward. And when I say innovation, I'm not just talking about novelty of the idea. I'm also talking about securing IP rights. IP rights is going to be the weapon of future. You may have a great idea, you have done fantastic implementation, but if somebody in Vietnam or somebody in Romania, somebody gets patent on that, and if you don't get that patent, probably you will not able to use your own idea without paying royalty. Okay, so getting IP rights secured is something that is very, very important, and all of you need to understand the significance of it. Information security is storing, transmitting, and processing of data that is already happening, but there are a lot of areas which are still unsecured. I'm sure some of you might be already participating in hackathon, or maybe you are some ethical hacker and all that. Fantastic. Make sure that you make use of all that knowledge in a right way and participate in what is happening now is lack of information security is currently the major challenge. You can build your careers in information security alone, and there will be fantastic opportunities there. And then identify areas where penetration is still low. We already talked about agriculture, education, manufacturing. Lot of those areas where penetration of electronics is still very, very low, and there is opportunities for you to build fantastic careers there. And of course, define new business model. Again, we Indians, we have our own way of doing things. You are a generation, I'm talking about the students in this hall, that you are the generation who is going to see fantastic economic growth for at least another decade in India, and there will be young population with purchasing power. But what applies to the advanced economies like US or Europe does not apply to our population. So there is opportunity for you to come up with new business model, new solutions, and there is opportunity for you to be just part of this journey, not just participate passively, but participate more actively. And that is what would be my, sincere thought and the request to all, especially the youngers who are sitting here. And for the faculty members, I would request that you make sure that whenever you get an opportunity, you guide your students to make sure that they are becoming an active participant in this journey. And that is how we all should see a bright future for our students and our country. So with that, I will stop here. And if there are any questions, I will be more than happy to take. And before I close, of course, my sincere thanks to Dr. Anita ma'am, the principal sir, and all the management here for giving me this opportunity. It is, always very interesting to interact with students. So many thanks for that.
Thank you, sir. On behalf of the students, are there any questions? Open. The platform is open, so students can ask the questions. Anybody? See, it's the right time. How we can get the job in the industry, core industry.
Yeah, and the questions could be in any topic, need not be only about the presentation. If you have something in your mind that, somebody is there from the industry, I would like to know, you can ask. At the most, I will say that probably I am not working in this, I do not know, that is fine. Or was it too much of bombardation of information on you that you are overwhelmed?
Good morning, sir. So this is related to VLSI and electronics.
Mm-hmm.
So how this PCB design in particular is going in line, or how we can quantify and connect the progress of this VLSI chip manufacturing?
Sure. So, good question. See,
Hello.
yeah. So, sir's question is about PCB design, and is it probably advancing the same way or in line with the IC design industry, right? So India is one major player today. Of course, we are still not able to compete with East Asian countries when it comes to countries like Vietnam, Singapore, and all in terms of cost, and especially China. We are unable to compete in terms of cost. But as long as as far as technology is concerned, we are pretty much there. And in Karnataka, especially, we have a hub near Mysore, we have a hub near Hubli, and there are fantastic, PCB design houses who are able to make world-class PCBs, and that industry can further grow, especially as and when we start seeing that the domestic consumption of electronics. See, what is happening today is the domestic consumption is touching somewhere around $300 billion a year. In fact, one probably point that I missed to make in my presentation, but all of you should know, is the second biggest item after oil that we import is electronics. Okay. Now, if you consider oil import, and oil import is something that really hampers our economy. Okay, that is why it envelops electronics. But by some way, suppose EVs become more popular and import of oil starts going down, then electronics is dominating there at the number 2. So $300 billion worth of electronics is Indians they import, and that is not reflecting into our local demand. So our consumption is very high, but it is not reflecting in our local demand. As and when it starts reflecting, our PCB design industry will also definitely pick up much faster. And with the changes that are happening in the geopolitical world today, that increasingly West is trying to avoid doing business with China, right? I personally feel that India has a bigger role to play in that entire system design place, and in that PCB will play a major role. In that, Karnataka will play much bigger role.
Firstly, thanking you for the detailed explanation, sir. And my question is, what is the message or what are the skills would you like to convey us for the present generation, especially in this field?
Yeah, good question again. As you saw in some of my slides, right, I was talking about edge computing. I was talking about how third generation computing is going to replace what was earlier client server model. Okay. Now, when you connect it with you as a student, what kind of skills are important? I would say that irrespective of any faculty that you belong, even if you might be in a mechanical engineering, some skills you should start picking up. One of that is Python programming. Python programming, I can tell you one simple example. My sister is a patent lawyer. Okay. Now, lawyer is the last profession that might need programming. Do you all agree? But she was telling me that her law firm is conducting a Python programming course for lawyers. Do you know why? Because today Python is used across all walks of life for different purposes. You don't have to know Python to the level where you might write some complex AI algorithm that may be left to the students of computer systems, right? But anybody who is going to think about bringing a solution in, especially in engineering space, having basic knowledge of Python programming is going to play an important role. So I'm talking about very ground level skills that student population can quickly correlate with. Okay. Another aspect I already touched upon is knowing the importance of intellectual property. I know, see, when I was a student, we used to do a lot of things. Probably unintentionally, we probably even did infringement of somebody's IP rights, and nobody bothered. Neither we bothered nor the person. Probably they didn't even know that their IP rights were getting infringed. But this is something that is going to play an important role going forward. You will have to be very careful about two things. Your created intellectual property, other person should not infringe. You are not either intentionally or unintentionally infringing somebody else's intellectual property, and that is something. So I would request all of you, and there are a lot of fantastic courses are there on Coursera and all. Okay, you don't have to really depend on in-person courses for such things. You can go search on internet, do those courses. What is meant by intellectual property? Why should I secure it? What are the ways of securing the intellectual property? You should all, as a students who are going to build any career in near future, either in engineering or any allied areas, you should be knowing this. Another third skill I would say is how do you correlate? See, we looked at a lot of areas where especially the edge computing and the high speed connectivity, right? So that is also not going to happen purely based on the underlying physics of the devices. See, now the semiconductor is already reaching to some level of saturation. For example, few years back, I am taking one simple example. All of you, are you familiar with what is SerDes? SerDes is a device which takes part into the serial communication. For example, when I connected this HDMI cable, right, there were SerDeses in that laptop and in that projector that came into picture when we were connecting the cable. Now this was at 56G at some point of time. Probably 112 is the saturation. Silicon photonics is another area that I would request all of you, those who are going to pursue career in electronics, start taking courses in silicon photonics, because silicon photonics is going to play big role in that slide that I showed.
Yeah, in this slide, there is a one area where we are talking about high-speed networks, right? On the right-hand side, silicon photonics is going to play significant role there, and if you can build skills in silicon photonics, you will have fantastic career options ahead of you. Okay.
Hello sir, my name is Rishikesh. Can I know what is the major role played in defense sector of electronics?
Oh, defense sector is something that is one of the key areas for electronics today. In fact, I'm part of India Electronics and Semiconductor Association, and just 10 days back we had a major show, Defectronics, okay, where electronics and defense guys, they came together and then ideas got discussed, products get demonstrated. So I can tell you many areas. For example, today's modern radar system, entire radar system is built on electronics, right? Whether it is RF or whether it is any other, all of that is pure electronics today. Then you look at, you might have seen one incident that has happened about 2 or 3 months back. There was some press publicity for that one of our neighboring nation complained that our missile was seen in their airspace. Okay, though fortunately it did not cause any damage there, but the issue was raised, and of course we handled it well. But that was the root cause of that was detected as some malfunctioning in electronic subsystem, and that resulted into that. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is electronics and semiconductor in defense has a major role to play. The defense today, see, the future wars are very unlikely to be fought only on the ground. And if you look at, say, Russia-Ukraine war, a lot of that war is also fought at a level of abstraction level which is much higher than, yes, the soldiers were fighting on ground, but they were given cover using fighter jet. The technology deployed in deploying those jets as well as covering all of that is electronics is pervasive there. Okay, so defense and in fact India's defense spend is going to increase significantly due to various geopolitical reasons, and you will see that electronics playing a bigger role in defense. So any of you who have interest in such things, say rocketry or aerospace or the areas of defense, you can build fantastic careers there. All right, so once again, thank you. Good interactive session. I am going to be around. Feel free to talk. I would always love to interact with students. My contact details are with you, Rachel. You can feel free to reach out to me even after our session. Okay?
Thank you, sir. I request Ruby sir